Have him on any day, let alone game day.
Yeah.
People, unbelievable that you've joined us
This
on
blows
game
your
day.
mind.
It does. It blows my mind. I can't get my head around it that you can be sitting here on game day.
Yeah, well let's say if I played bad, let's say this was a pre-record. I did it yesterday. No, look, I've done it a couple of times. I did it last year. I'm fine. I wake up at 6 every morning.
Yeah.
This is no different to that.
But Rue's done a bit about saying how when he played, he was sick every time he played, very nervous. Are you that type, or are you pretty chill before a game? Because I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Like,
I like to stay as calm as possible, so this helps. This is like
this is a good distraction.
Yeah, this is in my routine to be able to make me feel calm and collected and just like another normal day.
So what does your day look like today? Take us through. You're going to leave here, and then what? You go get some brekkie somewhere? What's
I already had brekkie. I'll go home and have a walk with the family.
Yep.
And then George is playing tennis, the oldest. He's playing tennis at 10. Well, playing tennis. Have you seen a 3-year-old play tennis? He won't make contact with the ball, but he'll be there.
He'll be running around with a racket.
Yep.
Heard Atomic's close. Yeah.
And then I'll have a nap today, preferably when the kids don't nap, so I can time it.
Nap on the couch, nap in the bed. This is a big discussion on this program.
Spare bed. Yeah,
Spare bed. Well done.
Yeah,
for
spare
you.
bed.
Very clever.
And then it basically takes me to sort of 2:30, 3 o'clock. I might watch the VFL curtain raiser before I get in the car and drive down to Geelong.
You're living the dream.
It's a nice day, game day.
So when you go down to Geelong, is it old school? Is this a team bus? Is it kind of road trip? What do you do? All turn up together on the bus?
We've done everything you can for a Geelong game in my 16 years.
Right.
We've stayed down in Torquay, the RACV there, and lost by 60, so we didn't do that again. We drove down on the bus all together and lost by 186. That wasn't a great day.
That wasn't a great day.
But then we've also sporadically just everyone driven up themselves, or some people went and stayed last night and had good results. So that's what we're doing. People, Ed Langdon's got a holiday house in Lawn. Jake Lever's gone down for a family trip because we got the weekend off after. So people have gone down after training yesterday and stayed down for the night. Some people will
sounds
drive
like
up.
you're going to get off the bus in your
Yeah.
board shorts. You
Yeah.
like?
we were the same in my time, and then on the way home, it would always be a challenge to try and pull into, about 20 minutes outside of Geelong there, near the Ford factory. There's the McDonald's and
the Corio Roadhouse is the greatest food spot of all time.
It'd always be a challenge to try and not be behind or in front of St Kilda supporters after you've just got smacked and they see you pulling into McDonald's.
Mine's unfortunately usually the petrol station for darts, but sometimes I can
Yeah.
if I
Back
get
in the
past
old
that.
days.
If I get past that,
That's the old days, right, Matt?
Ever had Melbourne fans turn up to the game carrying guns? Have you ever? I've once a pair with dueling pistols.
Yeah, we have those old pistols where you have to get a rod and put it in the front to load
Muskets,
it.
blunderbuss. They usually. I did see 2 Melbourne supporters with guns, but they were shooting pheasant.
Yeah.
So
Someone
It's
once
hard to
brought
say.
in a very sharp cheese knife.
we've we get our cars checked all the time driving in.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I remember, I forget who it was, but a farmer came in with a bit of farming gear in the back of his finger. He was playing that day and almost didn't get let in. So they are very, very strict.
They
Fair.
check the players, just not the other 80,000.
Yeah, the fans
just
are
not the other
fine.
80,000 people coming through.
Max Gawn is with us. Nick Revolt.
He is, and we're very lucky that he's here on game day. Hey, Max, I want you to put your captaincy hat on for just a second.
Yep.
The game last night, Carlton, they've got to the undesirable position of 0-4. They've been in games. They haven't quite gotten it done, a bit of stuff with their system. I'm interested in players in the modern game. We ask a lot of them, but there are still times when it's your turn to go, you kind of have to go, that sort of thing. How do you handle players that jump out of the way and don't go hard enough in contests? Because once upon a time it would have been you do that, you get, scorched by your teammate, scorched by the coach, and, it's made pretty clear that it's not acceptable. How do you hand that sort of stuff in the modern game?
I think, the game has changed a tiny bit, where that is not the be-all and end-all. Like, I think going back to almost when I first started, but obviously a lot earlier than that, if you couldn't win a contested ball, you couldn't play footy. It's still an element of that because the game is so contested. But let's say a player did jump out of the way. They might have done 35 and kicked 5 and been the best defensive player on the ground or something like that. So there's a lot of positives.
Yep.
I think you can slowly, through the right channels, ours would probably be Choco Williams. He is our development manager, but he also looks after our contests and our repeat efforts. He'd be the guy that would take charge and just slowly walk through a bit of vision.
So the days of the coach showing it in front of the entire team and say Ross Lyon pulling out
you're talking Ross Lyon.
Ross Lyon pulling out a ruler and measuring the distance between two players and the ball, and one guy getting close to the other guy not. Does that happen? Does that happen in front of the group anymore? If a guy obviously shits himself in a contest?
I think it's now seen on par with a skill error, a bad defensive effort, not gut running. They're all seen on par as a bad skill. So they would be shown together. It's not necessarily where if you shirk that contest, you are the weakest person ever. It's not that anymore, which is, I think, good. But I don't think we see it that much, to be honest. I'm not sure what contest you're referring to.
It was reported, though, you guys had an honesty session. Is that true? Was that do you do that occasionally and all say what you're thinking?
We're always honest. No, we didn't have any extra meetings that got put into the calendar.
So when they say that, it's not necessarily true. You're telling me the media's wrong.
Yeah, the media can get it wrong sometimes. Although I did see Nick Dacos said Kane Corns got it right last night.
I can't believe he did that. I can't believe I gave Nick Dacos the platform.
It was an honesty session.
To clap back at Kane Corns, and he goes, I actually agreed with Kane. I said, you don't know what you've done. You've created a monster. Hey, Oscar Allen, again with your captaincy hat on. How do you go as a captain when you're the one that's selling the dream and you're the poster boy of this is what we stand for as a group. This is
follow
how
me into battle.
Yeah, jump on my back, boys. How does he walk back into the club this week after meeting with an opposition coach after a loss to discuss his future at another club potentially?
I think you can. I think we're all grown up now, and we can sort of. I think you know the way I'm going to lean. I'm going to lean in towards Oscar can do what he wants. I think. I mean, we got Stephen May from Gold Coast while he was captain. Angus Brayshaw was vice captain and didn't sign literally till September and was out of contract the whole year and was rocking up to leadership group meetings. But he parked what he was doing outside of the club at 9 a.m., walked in, was the best teammate and person he could be for us that day. And then at 5 p.m., he gets a phone call from his manager saying, they've upped the offer. It's all a game. They're trying to get the best deal they can for their future. This could be a setup to get as much money as he can from West Coast. So
you're talking to Tasmania.
Yeah, I'm talking to Tasmania.
We know that. You're in deep discussions and could end
Tasmania,
up there.
Williamstown, and Port Melbourne are my three options.
Let's talk about this. This is a big game for the Melbourne Football Club. We've seen what it's like for a team to go 0-4. What's happening? Geelong. What's the plan, Stan?
There's a lot of things to look at. You can look at last year. You can look at Brisbane winning the grand final, and I think they were 1-4 when they played us. So they were behind the eight ball. Hawthorn were obviously 0-5. We've been in positions like this before. So if we still want to go to the top, we know we can. But that's a long way looking. There's the famous saying, just life is 6 foot in front of your face. So we've got to look at Geelong, and we're pretty excited. We've got a strong rivalry with Geelong. Almost every game in the last 10 years has been decided by a kick. It's been phenomenal. So hopefully it's going to be close for the viewers. And I'm pretty keen to get down the highway.
Where do you win the game tonight?
We got to, if presuming Tom Stewart's playing, we got to look after him. Our forwards have done a good role with intercept defenders in the past, so hoping they can get that done. A few of their mids, obviously Danger, Max Holmes, these guys are good players, but they just play Geelong really well. They're able to get the ball at the back a lot. They've got some speedy forwards of Myers and Stengel and Jeremy Cameron and even Neil, who I think he's one of the quickest in their team. So we just got to make sure we control the footy.
Yep.
Indeed.
Good
Club
luck,
needs
mate.
a win. Could chalk one up down in Geelong. Have a great day. Enjoy the trip.
It's a fun drive
I
home.
might come with
you.
you.
Come down.
Sit in the back like an Uber.
Yeah, come down. We'll stop at the bottle on the way back if we win.
Come on. Man, I'm talking to you.